hopefully it was good for you as well, Oliver, and hopefully good for everyone else too.
Oh, absolutely. It's hard to have a bad day when we get to spend it hanging out with the community. You know what I mean? And of note, of course, Rax here with the notable 401, 0 losses to get to here and be the number 1 seed. Blind Tyrant at the moment being 4-1, I believe. We had Breakers were an absolute mess today. Oh my goodness.
They were so bad.
We have just so many draws that we ended up with Blind Tyrant playing the best deck of all time, Bant Infect, and coming in to play this final feature match. Of note, Rax winning will lock in first place for them. However, it will be up in the air as to who's going to be getting the coveted Dark Ritual token if Blind Tyrant takes this down.
Yeah, and of note too, thanks for pointing that out, Lemon. This is Blind Tyrant's first event on the server here, so that's really good.
What a great way to start off. You know what I mean? That's the way we get them hooked. You get them on stream in their first event, and then they'll keep on coming back.
Oh yeah.
So we did have. I'm sorry. You go ahead. You go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's this one's definitely going to be interesting for sure because we do have 2 combo decks here. Bent Infect, trying to basically ignore everything and deal with a massive creature there, whereas Sneak and Show is trying to put in an even bigger creature and just have it be good enough, or Omniscience or something like that. So this is probably a bit more of the classic 2 ships passing in the night, except for in this case both ships have shields and hooks and everything else trying to stop your opponent and protect yourself. So
well, go figure. This is one of those things where I'm personally biased, right, as an Infect main, but I definitely do think that Blind Tyrant is advantaged in this matchup. Actually, Rax and I have a little bit of experience battling out this exact matchup previously, but essentially they both are able to play like minor control roles with each other. Depending on who gets out of the gate first, the other person takes that control role with their Force of Wills, of course, and Dazes and Spell Pierces. However, Blind Tyrant is just a little bit advantaged in this, especially game 1, and especially with that play after that roll. Blind Tyrant getting that nat 11. That said, it always ruffles my feathers every time you call Infect a combo deck, but you know what? Potato, honestly.
When it comes down to it, it plays like a combo deck in that regard, even though I know it's more of a tempo deck. But yeah.
And really the thing is, like I said, both of these decks have really the same amount of permission as the other ones do. They're both rocking the 4 Force of Wills, the 4 Dazes, and then Bant, in fact, on this build with the single Spell Pierce, while Rax is on the, I believe, 2 Flusterstorms main board. So both of them are able to play that control role depending on who's the first one to try to go for it, really. It looks like both of them are mulliganing
6 right now.
So I do believe that as kind of interestingly enough, I do think that Sneak and Show, as both decks start to mulligan down, Sneak and Show does start to get a little bit of the advantage, right? And that really comes down to Rax's deck being an A+B combo deck, where Infect deck does require some more pieces to quote unquote do the combo speed finish, which is what you're really looking for, what you're really trying to do in this exact matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I love that cut. So when I first started in this Discord, way back in the day, I had an LFG game where I had the turn 1 Glistener Elf, turn 2 Invigorate Berserk, and my opponent accused me of stacking my deck in the LFG channel. And so ever since then, because I did like the I'm gonna cut by myself, right? That was just kind of like what my opponent was doing. I was really new. I'd only played like 3 games in the LFG channel. So that was just like what people had done. So that's what I did. And ever since then, I've always been, here's 1 pile, here's 2 pile, here's 3 pile, you pick the pile, please. Because I don't want to be accused of that again. We're seeing Wooded Foothills fetch, both players keeping 6.
Yeah. And Tyrant, on the play, we did see the die roll for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so here's the thing. These 2 players do not know what each other is on. So Blind Tyrant going Wooded Foothills into Trop here, I do believe is a massive tell that you are playing up against Infect. And then even more so with that Noble Hierarch.
I agree.
There is the possibility that you're playing some like Mavericky build that for some reason has Wooded Foothills, even if you're on Wet Maverick. But really I do believe Rax is rather sure at this moment that Blind Tyrant is on Infect.
Yeah. So we're going to see a glare printing of Island.
Best art, as you can tell from that beautiful glare.
Yeah.
That's just, that's just one of the downsides sometimes of us having to play these camera matches. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
sometimes we do have glares on certain spots of our mats, and that's just something we're always looking to better. We're
Exactly.
seeing wooded, or we're seeing windswept heath. Now we know for sure that it's Infect. Um,
More than likely.
yes, incredibly so. Is this gonna be the Sylvan Library? Ooh, beautiful Legend Sylvan Library coming down. And yeah, if we didn't know before, we now know for sure.
Yep. Brainstorm. He fancy
Seen that.
signed Mercadian Masks Brainstorm for
Ooh,
the
the
split second you
gorgeous
could see it.
brainstorm. The gorgeous,
Days.
gorgeous one.
I like this Days a lot, actually.
I do as well.
And then looks
And
like
Sylvan Library
Library's
just
going to
resolves.
resolve and pass.
Looks like this
Flooded
is a fetch
Strand.
land coming down, yeah. Did we miss the Sylvan Library trigger?
Looks like Blind did miss Sylvan Library. That is unfortunate.
It's okay. Knew that top card. Didn't need it. We're just saving time. And
It
I'll be totally.
looks like he's trying to do the whole proving the card in hand was the one on top thing. It's kind
Yeah.
of hard when the card's left the camera.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where you miss it, you miss it. You know what I mean? Like,
In this case, yeah, definitely.
yeah. I have absolutely been there. Props to one of our very dedicated players, Malfi, one of our first invitational. One of our first invitational competitors. My first time I played against Malfi, I missed my Sylvan Library triggers 3 times. Oh, looks like we're letting it happen, I guess.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, making very sure to keep it separate. This is another thing too, is the whole like brainstorm thing. Okay, so we're just gonna go
Snap
basic
8.
here.
I love it. I love it.
That's also the best way to prove that you didn't cheat on which card you put back.
Yeah, exactly. I have mad respect for that. And we're seeing double infect threats here. So if we are on Rax's side, we have to assume that we're dead on this following turn, especially with the Sylvan Library having the potential to be another ancestral recall. I love this. I love this so much.
Man, Sylvan Library is such a good card.
Nothing gets me more excited than seeing the Snap 8 pay life. That's the way that I love to play it as well. All right. So I believe Blind Tyrant is on 4 cards in hand at this point.
Yeah, remembering the Sylvan Library this time.
Also, of note, I can't really tell. I do believe that's a Tom Ross signed Inkmoth Nexus, which mad props to that. Gotta love me some damage cards.
It could be, yeah. Who was the actual artist on that printing?
Jung Park, I believe.
Okay.
If I'm recalling correctly off the top of my head. But that definitely is not Jung's signature, but it does look like the kind of classic Tom Ross sig.
There you go. I'll leave the
Normally that's
signature expertise to the expert here.
right, especially with the Infect sig. Those are exactly the ones I know earlier. And
Yeah.
yes, Lemon is letting us know from previous information that that is a Tom Ross sig. A lot of the times people use Tom Ross sigs for their Blighted Agent because uh, Antonio, the actual artist of Blighted Agent, does not sign whatsoever. So those sigs have gotten incredibly, incredibly rare. Seeing Fetch looking for another trop, it looks like Blind Tyrant is going to be down at 10. Not that it matters too much. Emrakul will kill. That's kind of where we're at.
Yeah. And that's just it too, is that well, in this particular case, Tyrant may not know that. Right? If Tyrant doesn't know that there's potentially a Emrakul coming down, then may not be worried about it. That being said, though, you need a pretty good hand here. You would need another land into a show and tell in a sneak attack and then Emrakul attack as well.
Yes. So, and of note, Blind Tyrant really doesn't know what he is up against at this point, right? Where,
Yeah.
if you have just seen Island Brainstorm 2 polluted Delta or 2 flooded strands, you very much could be assuming that this is blue white.
Yeah. Definitely. Well, and that's just it. Is this board state that Rax has says nothing.
Trigger attack.
Yep. So this
Gonna
is going to be attack
swing
for
for 2
two.
here. Is this just happening?
Looks like it.
Okay, no pumps. Classic 5-turn clock. So Rax does have a turn to make this happen. It looks like 4 cards in hand for Blind Tyrant. The fact that there was no pump there would make me think that it's either all counter magic, or if there are pumps left there, it is
Berserk.
realistically Berserk. Yeah. There is some possibility of holding it. However, if you think your opponent's on blue white, or frankly, if you think that they're on the sneak and show either, like either way, we're seeing
Yeah,
two bulks coming down. It would be beneficial to go ahead and play out the invigorates, basically just making them have it at that
yeah.
moment and just
End
converting it
step
into damage.
intuition. Okay, this is good.
Okay, I think this is going to be the moment where we attempt to go for it. We're checking for days. Looks like this is gonna be a brainstorm or the one of spell pierce.
Well, I'm
But
not
yeah,
sure because that trop is actually tapped from the brainstorm.
oh,
It looked
that's
like he
very
was going to
true.
pick it up to try and daze, but I don't know if
Tanking for a moment.
yeah, probably
Mm,
explaining how intuition works.
that is not a card we see all the time. But
No.
it is quite a good one, it turns out.
And of note too, intuition targets an opponent. So cards like Veil of Summer or you having Hexproof from Leyland of Sanctity means your opponent cannot intuition.
Yeah. Of note, it is also, I'm thinking on this more. Blind Tyrant is also possible that they have Vines as the other pump spells in hand, and those would be the ones that you would want to hold. But really,
Yes.
any scale ups or invigorates, you're not worried about lightning bolts against sneak and show. And if you think you're on blue white control, you still want to be converting those quickly, like just
Yes.
getting them out. Just because they aren't going to be they aren't counter spells against lightning bolts in that matchup, of course.
Hmm.
And Rax is digging away. What's this intuition pile? It's either just payoff or the show and tells, right?
I would imagine that this is probably going to be a triple pile of one of those cards. Potentially, yeah, I would imagine this is going to be a triple pile. But as for what we grab, that would depend on what's in Rex's hand.
Yeah, absolutely. Now let's see. So as you were kind of saying, the real scary thing about this is the fact that just show and telling here will likely mean you lose. Is that three? Oh, we're
That's
seeing the
three
three
sneak
sneak
attacks.
attacks.
Yeah,
Perfect. So we know exactly what we're doing, right? We want land Lotus Petal,
yeah, or Soul Land.
or Simian Spirit Guide. So I guess there are some good ways to do it.
Yeah, good
Um,
graveyard ordering there too, with the two cards going to the graveyard before the intuition.
yeah, right. That's actually one that I would have missed. I'm not gonna lie. I probably would have worded that differently. Um, is this the show and tell?
This is show and tell,
All
yes.
right, show and tell, put in sneak attack, go for it. If there is counter magic in Blind Tyrant's hand, this is the exact moment it needs to come out. Seeing Force, Pitch, Blighted Agent, 2 cards left in hand,
I like that actually.
and that's gone. Beautiful damage, show and tell, of course.
Damaged.
Blind Tyrant going down to 9 life, of course. Yeah, right. That.
Yeah.
Hey, I love me my signed cards, but even I will call them damaged.
Pay 8, go to 1. Live dangerously.
Let the Simian Spirit Guide come in for lethal. I mean, if Rax had their own permission spell, they would have gone for it there, right?
I think it depends on what permission spell it is.
So you wouldn't have if he was dazed. Maybe you would have gone for it with Flusterstorm, but that probably is just setting you up to die because you
I
were spending
agree.
the mana that you needed to. So I guess that actually makes sense to
I
just hold it to interact. So you know that there's no force of will essentially. That's the one thing that you're able to tell from
Yeah,
not protecting the show and tell there.
yeah. I
Tanking off this
100
library.
Yeah, and that is a good point. I could see. Oh, we are doing it. Yes.
I love this.
Um, so we are. I agree with you. Flusterstorm, you do not want to cast because if you tap out, you're just going to die, or you're potentially just going to die.
Seeing Brainstorm. Just of
Interesting.
note, this Sylvan library has done more damage than Emrakul could have. I just want to be very clear.
Yes. Yeah, this Sylvan Library has done 18 damage over the course of this game, or 16. Sorry.
16, yeah.
This is why you always play the surprise gut shot. Oh yeah.
For sure. of note would have been amazing in this matchup. Coulda,
Yep.
woulda, shoulda.
Gonna get the Tropical Island into play there. I'd imagine with going to 1, this is going to be a lethal attack soon. Scale up. So we are 1 damage short now.
Assuming this resolves, yes.
Yeah.
3 other cards in hand after with this brainstorm as well.
Oh, actually, no, because we need to attack here and Exalted.
Yeah, and that'll be 7. There's 2 poison counters already.
Yeah. And then become immense.
This is it. Of note, this still has Vines protection. Is that the
So that was
Flusterstorm?
a Flusterstorm, yes.
Yep.
The Buy a Box promo from Modern Horizons.
Just enough to counter it. There being 4 Flusterstorms on the stack targeting this right now.
Yeah. Yeah, Brainstorm, scale up, become immense, yes. That being said, I'd still be really concerned, even if this does get countered, because you're still going to go to 9 poison after this, and there's an Inkmon Nexus back.
Yeah, well, if you survive this turn, you need to be killing on the final one. That's the only way that it's on this next turn. If you're on Rakta's side, that's the only way to go. Emrakul's Annihilator 6, right?
Emrakul's Annihilator 6. So
okay, so if it attacks, the Inkmoth Nexus isn't staying back to block, right? So
no, but you are also at 1 life, and you need to find a land to activate the Inkmoth. That's the issue.
There's an untapped land right now that hasn't been used yet.
No. So it looks like the Become Immense is just going to get countered. Up to 9 poison.
Rax on death's door. Both players on death's door.
Actually, if you would get attacked by the Emrakul, I actually like just leaving the Blighted Agent back and then just hitting for 1 for lethal.
Yeah, that's
because I'd imagine Rax is probably going to spend everything trying to. Okay, so here we go. 4 cast sneak attack.
Last 2 cards force.
You cannot force of will. You can only force a negation. Days. I like this a lot. Actually.
That's just it. There needs to be exactly Lotus Petal.
Yeah, pay for it.
Or Simian Spirit Guide in hand.
And I'm pretty sure with Rax. Oh yeah.
What a fantastic game. Fantastic. That Days being converted to being actually being relevant in the final turns. Really, really well done. Rax not choosing to fight over the force of will, over the force of will on the show and tell, knowing that they were likely going to die on the following turn, so they needed to hold it up. Really, that was a fantastic game 1.
That
really,
was
really
excellent
great.
By both players for sure.
Definitely. Let's jump into the sideboards quick, shall we?
Yes.
So first, let's go ahead and we'll look at Rax's side. Rax has 2 defense grids in the side, 2 Grafdigger's Cages, 2 Pyroclasm, 2 Progenituses, 2 Abrades, 2 Blood Moons, 1 Boseiju who shelters all, 1 Red Elemental Blast, and 1 Pyroblast. What are you liking out of this sideboard?
I don't mind the defense grids, just because that it's an ability to, Person of Secrets, thank you very much for the sub. The thing I like about defense grid is that it stops these tempo plays of like Days and Force of Will and stuff like that. It also stops cards like Vines of Vastwood from protecting your creatures if need be. Another thing as well, I don't mind the Abrades just because it's direct damage and it can also hit an animated Inkmoth Nexus, which I think is very good.
So I think I'll agree with the vast majority of that. So me looking at this as an Infect player, also shout out to Person of Secrets, the Infect player who just gave us that 3-month sub. The 2 Pyroclasms, the 2 Abrades, and the Blood Moons really are the most relevant cards, in my opinion. You can make some argument for Boseiju as well. Really, as long as you're cutting out... With the 1 Boseiju main already, you can do it, maybe taking down a fetch land, but that I'm not so sure how relevant that is. But there also is a slight issue in terms of the potential of overboarding on Rax's side, right?
Where I agree.
You really want to have 1 or 2 of these pieces that you're boarding in. If you get a hand with 3 of them and you aren't actually clocking yourself, like you aren't actually killing within the first couple of turns, Blind Tyrant will be able to grind out of it 100%. So I do think we are going to be seeing the 2 Pyroclasms. I do think for sure we'll see the 2 Abrades, 1 or 2 Blood Moons, just because, go figure, Blood Moon's really good against a deck that only has 1 basic forest in it.
Yeah,
And maybe the Boseiju as well. I think the cards that you cut down on, that's where I'm a little bit less sure of. I can see the Intuition coming out. I can actually see the Force of Wills coming out to a certain extent, just because you are kind of 2-for-1ing yourself. Um, Either that or the fast mana. But again, I'm not sure because you want so many of these cards, right? Like, yeah,
exactly.
you very much do want to be going fast out of the gate. So I'm not so sure. Maybe you don't board in that many cards. Maybe you're keeping in the Seeming Spirit Guide and the Lotus Petals. Um, I'm not so sure. Anyway,
Yeah,
let's jump over to the Infect side. This one I can speak to a lot more, honestly. We're seeing 3 Swords to Plowshares, 2 Force of Vigors, 2 Return to Natures, that Naturalize All-Star that can hit graveyards, 2 Veil of Summers, 2 Flusterstorms, 1 Rest in Peace, 1 Surgical, 1 Great Sable Stag. Fenris
love it.
Cloud would be so proud of Blind Tyrant, playing the Stag for the Grixis matchup. Mad respect. And then 1 Grafdigger's Cage. The real cards that I can see coming in here are going to be the Flusterstorms, to be totally honest. You
Yeah,
do possibly want to be bringing in Force of Vigors, depending on how afraid of Blood Moons that you are. Knowing that there are 2 Blood Moons you're going down against, which of course Blind Tyrant doesn't know that, there is more reasonable. There's more reason to be bringing it in, just so it doesn't completely lock you out. However, the main cards in this sideboard specifically are going to be Flusterstorm.
yeah. True Trans Solo Lesha, thank you very much for the follow. I actually really like Return to Nature here as well. Just by virtue of this being an Omniscience deck, if you show and tell in an Omniscience, as soon as you cast the first spell, you can fire back with a Return to Nature to blow it up. Blow it up.
So that is true. So here's the real question. Do you think Blind Tyrant thinks that Rax is on Omniscience or that Rax is on old school Sneak and Show?
I think given the versatility of Return to Nature and being able to hit a graveyard card, I think I would rather just bring it in, and then in the event that something happens and the Emrakul goes to the graveyard, you can at least hit one of them there. Um, like there is definitely options that you have in terms of hitting something with the card, but it also works on sneak attack too and Lotus Petal.
Yeah, that is very true as well. I do think that over nature, again, this is just me personally and the way that I kind of approach the matchup. I do think I would want Force of Vigors over the Return to Natures, just in that they're able to hit those same cards, but it's also able to get you out of a Blood Moon that you're locked out of. Is
That's
kind of
true.
my thought on it, and there isn't really any reason to hit any graveyard cards. Um, once a card's in the graveyard in this list, it is staying there. It is not. Nothing's happening with it unless it gets shuffled in with Emrakul, I guess. But that's not enough reason to hit something, in my opinion. Of note, I do have to say, so the 2 mainboard Sylvan Libraries, I'm a huge fan of right now. I'm playing that as well. And then also the 2 mainboard Teferi's Time Ravelers, while I'm not currently doing it, is very fantastic for this matchup. Both because you're able to, a show and tell that's just simply putting in an Emrakul or a Grizzlebrand is going to be able to be dealt with the Teferi. And it also is just going to be it's your way to just lock out counter magic. It does look like Rax is mulling down to 5, which is not at all what Rax wants to be doing on the
No.
play. Go figure. Um, we'll have to see if they're able to get out of it. It looks like Blind Tyrant, however, is keeping the 6.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, so Blind's going to bottom a card there. Rax on a mull to 5, and Rax being down a game. This is not where Rax wants to be.
Definitely not. I'm not gonna lie, I see this mull to 5, and I already kind of am rooting for Rax to get this game so we can go see game 3. However, we're gonna have to see the way that this plays out.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll have to
Rax
see
is
how this
keeping
goes.
5.
Of note, I don't believe I said this. I do think the cards that you are looking to shave on, if you're on Blind Tyrant side, are you can actually be taking out 1 or 2 Inkmoth Nexuses, namely because this matchup isn't one that you grind as often. It is one that you want to be presenting a threat kind of as soon as possible. Taking out Inkmoth Nexuses is something we do a lot in combo matchups. Vines is the other kind of spot that you can take things out of. However, that's a little bit scary when you're expecting spot removal to be coming in. However, because it is a blue-red deck, the only cards that you explicitly want vines for are if you're expecting like echoing truths or other bounce spells,
Mm-hmm.
because your invigorates are just going to counter braids or lightning bolts. So I do think that the vines and the Inkmoth Nexuses are good places to hedge on. Potentially a Sylvan Library as well when you are on the draw. However, when you're on the play, I think that would be one, or you'd want that back in. um there is potential of taking out 1 Berserk. That's often a thing that we shave as well. However, I do think because of how fast and forward you want to be, that you are going to be wanting to keep in those 2 Berserks.
Yeah. So we're going to see Rax lead off here with a Flooded Strand and pass, and then Blind's going to lead off with a Wooded Foothills
And pass
and then
back, it
pass
looks
it
like.
back. Yeah.
Seeing a crack at end step. One thing of note here, it isn't majorly relevant for this matchup. We aren't seeing any of the Singleton Wasteland in the Infect list. We aren't seeing that with the crop rotation at all. It's not massively relevant. However, it is nice for Rax. Of course, Rax doesn't know this, and that there's no worry about having a single mana source or having low mana sources and getting that wastelanded away from you.
Yeah.
And the end of turn Brainstorm.
Yeah. Just ribbing our table spotter there, spelling. It's all good, though.
Yeah, and we didn't really say this. Massive props to our table spotter today, Pie Boy. And then also major props to our streamer today, Mr. Jack Dax. Major, but and
massive props to our tournament organizer, Oliver V.
You beat me to it. I wanted to give myself props for that. That's the other person that we would normally be giving props in this situation. And we're seeing the Mark Taden the Ponders. The Merfolk Ponders, nice and signed.
I really like Mark Teaton's signature. I really do. It's very simple, but it's very sharp, and I like it.
Now, if only I liked that art, then I could play those Ponders, huh?
Yeah.
It's okay. I'm just a hater. Let's be honest.
There you go. I wouldn't mind some of the new old bordered Ponders, but they are muchachos deleros.
Actually, I'm just thinking about this now. Do you think Days came out from Rax when Rax is... Oh, wait, no. Rax is on the play. What am I talking about?
Yeah. I'd be reluctant to cut Dazes here. I actually got blown out because during my match against Rax today, because I am not used to seeing Days out of Sneak and Show.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember the classic days of 4 days, or the classic days of 4 days in the list.
Yeah.
Seeing Inkmoth Nexus.
And Tarmagoat calling me out on my Spanish, a language I speak absolutely 0 words of, saying like muchachos geloso and other various butchering the language things. I apologize. Very wrong. Fetching there, so looks like we got an Inkmoth from Blind Tyrant, and then following up with a Ancient Tomb, and then fetching the Polluted Delta.
Me, the captain. We are doing fantastic today. We had a great day of Legacy. Get to sit here and watch this final match. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you had a fantastic day as well. And we're seeing the Blood Moon.
Ooh.
Here we go. We're going to see this fetch either. This is going to be interesting. I want to see if Tyrant goes and just goes and gets the forest and lets it resolve. Or, okay, it looks like we're just going to force it first. The other possibility is fetching Trop and then fighting over it with a Spell Pierce if that's still in.
Yeah. USA Wolf Chen, thank you very much for the follow.
Seeing the Flusterstorm, we're going all in on this Blood Moon.
Oh, yeah. I actually don't mind this at all.
I like this a lot. Especially with the Mold of 5.
Yeah. Yeah, you crack this fetch land right now.
Let's go and get the forest.
Yeah.
Or we're getting Trop. We're going to fight over this. We're fighting over this. This is exciting. Has to be Spell Pierce. Flusterstorm is not able to interact with this Blood Moon.
Flusterstorm can counter all the Flusterstorms.
That's right. Oh, Flusterstorms can counter all the other Flusterstorms. That's nice.
Oh, looks like he changed his mind.
Or no, he's dazing.
Back on it. Well, if he can daze the Blood Moon, that's true.
Oh, did he pick it up and put it back in the deck? I'm very confused.
Put it back in the deck. He's thinking. So
this is a moment that you really need to choose your line.
Yeah. This is a very important spell, whether it resolves or not, is going to very, very heavily affect the outcome of this game.
Yeah, okay.
So a Daze here or a Flusterstorm is good. So we are going to go get the basic forest. Okay, so I'm assuming...
Rushstein Forest. Gorgeous. Love it.
Nice. Oh. Veil of Summer. Oh, no!
This is the other line.
Force of Will, pitch, show and tell. So Rax is now empty-handed.
We're going all in.
Oof, this is intense.
Interesting to see the Veil of Summers come in. I didn't actually expect to see those come in. It makes sense. It's fine. I'm kind of more interested to see what came out for those Veil of Summers as well. I would imagine if the Veil of Summers are coming in, that you aren't having any way out from underneath this Blood Moon.
Yeah.
Unless you're taking out, unless you're going really deep on the cards that you're taking out, to be honest. But we'll have to see afterwards. I would actually love to talk with Blind Tyrant about this sideboard strategy after this.
Yeah. Good, congrats on the good finish there, Charble, as well. This is a fantastic follow-up to a Blood Moon, though. Holy cow. And Mountain Pass.
So Blind Tyrant does actually have access to blue mana again. We do need to find one of the Glistener Elves or the Blighted Agents, of course. And it was Brainstorm that was pitched with the Force of Will of Note, so things are going to be a little bit more difficult for getting out underneath.
Yeah.
We see a lot of mountains in play on Rex's side, a whole bunch of mountains.
Yeah. We're in with Noble Hierarch beats now. Oh my goodness.
This is it. This is it. We're going to see it.
This is actually a really fast clock now. Rax is at 10. Oh my goodness.
This is a 4-turn clock without any pump spells.
You counter this. If you have the,
Brainstorm.
I guess it'd be really hard to do, but if you have the ability to, you 100% counter this. No, it's resolving.
I mean, I'm not sure if I would want to for one myself on this, to be honest.
Well, if you're forcing, no, but if you had, like, I guess Fluster Storm doesn't really count.
That's just it. All the soft permission doesn't do anything. There's so many
That's
mountains in play.
Yeah, that's true.
I gotta say, you have not lived fully until you have killed somebody with Noble Hierarchs twice in a match. That is the way to live. That is an achievement unlocked. Literally, the Xbox symbol formulates above your head right in that moment.
So we're gonna tap one of them in order to play a Ponder here.
Seems good. Really, just want to find any threat.
Ooh, Pyroblast.
Okay, you can respect this.
I actually like Pyroblast in this matchup too. It gets a lot of the blue spells in the deck. It also naturally kills a Blighted Agent, which is really good.
Yeah, it can fight counter wars. I don't think hitting the cantrips is really what you want to be happening. Of note, it does get explicitly better in this against this list with Teferi Time Reveler. Not that Rax is explicitly expecting that at the moment. However, actually having the out to the Teferi is rather massive as well.
Yeah.
This Teferi would be absolutely nuts, though, if we could see this come down.
Yeah. So, Pieboy pointing out that the Pyroblast was cast off of a Misty Rainforest. Apparently, Blind is tanking really hard over this.
Well, Blind has 3 cards in hand.
I think 2, because the Ponder's out in play now. Looks like it's just going to happen. Oh, that was actually a Red Elemental Blast. My bad. I look at both of those cards enough. I should know.
Yeah, Mr. Painter player. You actually explicitly know the difference in the arts.
Yes.
For me, it's a blast and it's red. Sounds good.
Yeah.
I know what this does.
So, crunch for 3, pass turn back, Rax draws. So, Rax is 1 card in hand now and is staring down. Noble Hierarch beats again.
Swinging for 3. Oh, no.
Oh, no. Crunching. If you've noticed, there's actually a tick box on each of those Noble Hierarchs, and I have a feeling that's probably the number of times they've killed someone.
That is actually what Lemon is sharing with us. Is this looks like this is Flusterstorm or a Brainstorm happening?
This is a Brainstorm. Based on the signature, it's a Brainstorm, at least.
This is just over then, right?
Well,
you need to hit exact. Oh, that's not true. You can hit exactly a braid.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3. And this is exactly lethal. And did we find exactly a braid? We did find exactly a braid. So now, I bet you I know what happened is probably the Exalted Triggers went on the stack and resolved. So it's a 3-4, and then the braid.
I mean that is exactly the correct way to do it.
Yeah, and we are 100% correct. Those tally marks are how many times nobles have killed someone, which on the looks of it is a lot, because that's 6 on that noble, 2 on the other one, and then 1 on the bottom one.
Nobles will do that sometime. Fantastic game to watch. Real big bummer to see Rax mulligan down to 5. However, the turn 3 Blood Moon did look to see if there was a way out. It was just, unfortunately, chaining Noble Hierarchs is a way to get out of this.
Yeah, exactly. So
Really great
congrats.
play on both players' side, I do have to say. We
Yeah,
saw Rax make the really heads-up play of not fighting over the Force of Will in the show and tell, not game 1, which turned out to be massively heads-up. Blind Tyrant was able to convert the days in the end into actually a meaningful card that ended up winning the game. Really fantastic across the board, and we're seeing Rax boarded in a good number of cards, really everything that we expected, and then plus the Rebs. Or I'm sorry, the
yeah,
Reb and the Pyro. It's a split. It matters.
yeah. Of note here too, actually, there was a Berserk and a Flusterstorm in hand.
Yep, those are the two leftovers there. So standings are going to get a little bit interesting now, right? So Rax is going to stay at 13 points. There are, going into this round, there were exactly 5 people with 12 points, one of them being you, Prez. I am pretty sure Prez is not going to take down this token,
I
though.
am positive I will
Uh,
not be taking down
so
this turn.
really, it is low. So I'm sorry, I'm seeing everyone's real names on Melee right now, and not the names that we know them as on our Discord. Blind Tyrant is potentially going to take this down. If our other mod, Mick Diff, is the other person with 15 points, Blind Tyrant will take it down on Breakers. However, if
Eternal Surprise could get there too.
Yes. However, if Eternally Surprised takes this down on Death and Taxes, Eternally Surprised will have better breakers and will be getting this Dark Ritual token. So this really is up in the air. Of
We'll
note,
find
of course, there is the chance of Clarastorix getting to 15 points as well if Clarastorix wins their match. However, Clarastorix does have worse breakers
Yeah.
than Blind Tyrant, just like McDiff. So it's incredibly unlikely that either of them will be taking the Dark Ritual token today.
Okay.
So really, really interesting. We're going to have to see the way this works out. It looks like
Yeah.
we did not see any of the Force of Vigors or the Return of Natures coming in, or Respect for the Blood Moon. So it looks like the other slot that were coming in was just the Veil of Summers, bringing in the Flusterstorms and the Veil of Summers.
Yeah. Which is interesting, but I can kind of get behind that for sure. So
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's definitely a strategy that you can take in the matchup, 100%. And just,
yeah.
and I mean, the Blood Moon resolved, and we were still able to get there. That's all that matters. Seeing
Yeah.
it to Fairy, a single days, and a scale up coming out. Interesting, interesting. Anyway, everyone, if you enjoyed watching this today, if you weren't playing in today's Saturday challenge and you want to get involved, my buddy Prez here can tell you how you can play some games with us.
So if you want to type in !Discord in the chat, it'll give you a link to the Discord. Thank you, Mr. Jackfax, for that. There are games popping off all the time, every week, or like any time of day. There's people all over the world that play on the server. It's really good. There's over 2,200 members there. And then just we have tournaments every Saturday, bi-weekly on Sundays. We have tournaments as well. We have a monthly league that goes on. The March league is underway right now, but you can always sign up for the April league when that goes up. We also stream every Tuesday on Fight Night, which is another streamed event if you would like to play on that as well. This week is going to be Mirror Match, and it's going to be spicy. So that should
Actually,
definitely be a good one.
of note, I'm just seeing some results come in. It looks like Clara Storix took down the Eternally Surprised. So if everything goes the way that we expect, the Blind Tyrant will actually be our winner of today's Saturday challenge,
That would be
taking it
good.
down with 15 points and the highest OMW percent. So we're going to have to see the way this goes. We'll see if things shift around a little bit in this final match. However, that does seem to be the person who's locked in at the moment, of course, because Prez, you you very kindly did not play this final round and decided
Yep.
to come and commentate with us.
Yep.
But everyone, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day or night wherever you are. Thank you so much for joining us today. Big props to everyone who jumped in and played the event with us. We hope to see you around again, and let us be your local meta.
Have a good one.